What's up, guys? Hello and welcome back to the show. Got a cast on the cards for you guys today. The second one in a row, actually. This one's going down on Settins, and this one was submitted by a very good friend of mine, the one and only Willow's Duality. We will go ahead and get into introducing the players real quick. We'll call this Team 1 up at the top, this Team 2 down at the bottom. Let's start with rearguard air position for Team 1. We have Spiky Noob, who's going Aeon, opening first land. Spiky Noob, actually, if you guys have been following my channel for maybe 6 months now. Yeah, it's actually been a while, Spiky. We did a show match for Supreme Commander Total Annihilation. It was a lot of fun. Super chill dude. Definitely climbing the ranks, because I think last time I saw him, he was 1100 whenever I faced him in the show matches. So good to see, bud. But he's going to be taking over air, working on that Hydra right now. Moving to the beach position for Team 1, we have Prugler PDM going UEF, opening first air. In the front, on his way to the middle, we have the one and only, the Titan Prince, Willow's Duality. There he is, marching his way toward the front. He is a self-identified UEF simp now, going UEF, opening first land. And on the cliff position, we have Syndicalist. That's a annoying name to say for somebody who's probably going to have to say it for a lot this game. Going Cybrid, opening first land, second air. Moving to team number 2, on his way to the middle, we have 5 APM. Man, I should change my name to that, because I definitely have 5 APM. On his way to the middle, facing off against the Titan Prince himself. There he is. Let's move on to the beach position. We've got Barris. We're going to call him Barris. I know that's not how it's spelled, but it's easier. Although Barris sounds a little better, because I'm drinking a lovely IPA right now. So if you guys are joining me, strap in, crack a cold one, because this is going to be a pretty long cast that we're working with here. In the rear guard air position, we have Winterfail NL. Going Aeon, opening first land, got his second and third air factories queued up. And last but certainly not least, in the cliff position, we have Sullivan JP. Call him Sully for this cast. He's going Seraphim, opening first land, second air. So, welcome to the roast of the Titan Prince himself. If you guys are not familiar, and I hope everybody takes this in good fun, Willow and I are good friends. We've got several co-casts on both of our channels together. But yeah, we're going to be roasting him in this one, because he sent this to me. It was like, I did so good, and told me that he wanted to name this video the Titan Prince after him. And we'll see why later. But yeah, we're going to take the opportunity to roast the shit out of him, as we've got a couple of Selens that are circling around there from 5 APM. Definitely looks like he has a little bit more than 5 APM to his name, as Willow begins going for that far Salem wreck. We'll see what the Salems are able to do. Or the Selens, not Salems. That would be pretty crazy, having Salems really early on. The Selens getting bagged pretty quickly. And from Prugler PDM, we do have a bomber out, as well as a scout. Undoubtedly looking for the air transport coming out from Sully, making a play for his side island. So we'll see. That bomber needs to stay a little bit clear, although these are only air scouts. There's no interceptors as of yet, and I say that an interceptor comes out real quick from Sully. So we'll see what Prugler's able to do here, and we'll keep an eye on that in the mini-map, as the Titan Prince himself is taking a battering in the middle there from 5 APM, taking Zooey fire, taking Calm fire. Willow, what are you doing, man? You're breaking my heart, dude. Breaking my heart. I can't believe you would subject yourself to some sort of fire like that. But either way, bomber is going to be a little bit too late there for Prugler. Land factory already set up for Sully, so he's going to have control of this island, even though he's going to lose a couple of engineers. That's going to hurt, but he's not going to lose control of that island. Meanwhile, on the southern side of the map, things are pretty quiet. Nobody's made a play for the side island yet. Willow is just getting his absolute ass handed to him in the middle. I'm disappointed, sir. I would have expected more. Not even dodging all of the Zooey shots. He's dodging some of them, sure, but, you know. What are you going to say? He finally brings up some Lobos. It's about time, man. I would have expected better. I would have expected better. As he dips into the red, 1500 HP on the comm. Should be able to get underwater, though, before those Zooies finish him off. And now 5 APM has kind of a semi-open door here. He just needs to walk his commander forward with a little bit of T1 support, and Willow is toast. We got toasted Willow. Shave up some willow bark, throw it in your toaster. Get that nice little smoky flavor on your toast. I don't know where I was going with that, but it got weird real quick. And incidentally, we have Beerus, the master of brewing himself, making a play for the side island here. No interceptors in the vicinity there for Syndicalist. 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 Yeah, okay. That sounds good. It's just a confusing way of saying syndicate. Why you gotta be hard on me? Maybe I'm just gonna roast everybody this cast. We'll see. As Willow's forces tangle with 5 APMs in the middle. Lobos, strikers, but Willow deciding to pull his strikers back and just leave his Lobos to the vices of the Zooies and Thams that are up here. Not a smart move, sir. Decides that he wants to accept a few losses and move backwards as his commander is in full retreat, tail tucked firmly between his legs. And while we're watching this push, you guys might have noticed I do have the Advanced Strategic Icons mod installed. Shout out to Comrade Striker for sending that to me. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. It should make some icons a little bit bigger. I know some of the people that watch my channel are watching on slightly lower resolution screens, which makes it a little bit difficult to see the smaller icons. So makes it a little bit bigger. I hope that helps out for you guys still watching on 720p. Hopefully nobody's on 480. But Willow is definitely overcommitting forces here, taking unnecessary damage from smaller amounts of things. It's hard for me to do this with a straight face. As Perugler wins a little bit of an air engagement over here. Saw that on the mini-map while we were talking about Strategic Icons mod. And we could catch this air fight between Syndicalist and his Master of Brewing opponent, Beerus. I wonder if Beerus means something in Latin. I'm not sure, but looks like Beerus is gonna come out on top here. Gets a couple of good turns with his interceptors, which I think were more on attack move than anything else. But watching the movie Gladiator in like little spurts while I do like home workouts, because I don't have a gym membership because I'm too cheap for that. So I'm all of a sudden very curious about what various Latin things mean. I took Latin in high school, and by took I mean I cheated on Latin in high school. I was homeschooled throughout high school, so shh, don't tell my mom. But yeah, I got straight A's because the answer key was in the bookshelf in her room. Oh man. Things are a little quiet though now. We've got 5 APM. He's got some static defenses set up. Pulled up engineers to grab the rest of these loyalist wrecks. So he's doing pretty good from a reclaim front. Secured, I think, almost all of the middle reclaim. I think he might have missed out on 1.5 or so Salems, but was able to secure the rest of it, which is always good to see. Willow marshaling his forces. He is dumping way too much mass into T1 units, which is terrible. I would have expected better. But you know, we YouTubers, we spend all of our time making fun of other people instead of actually playing the game. And that's really the job description for a YouTuber, is just make fun of other people. And then most people laugh except for the person being made fun of. This cast is going all sorts of weird areas right now. I'm gonna stop. Nah, you know what? I take it back. I'm not gonna stop. We're gonna continue doing the weirdness. Bombers coming over from 5 APM. Smart play here. No anti-air. Well, one anti-air in the vicinity, but a couple of value bombs come off. Gonna be able to bag 6 units. Very smart. Like I said, I would have expected better from Willow. I would have expected more anti-air in the vicinity. As he is... I thought he... Oh, yeah. He did lose his radar. In danger of losing his radar. That's just sad. I'm very disappointed. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the attempted drop from Beerus did get taken out. So, T1 Land Factory uncompleted. Went for a mass extractor first. And that's going to mean that Syndicalist has a relatively open opportunity, as there is a big push on the middle land bridge. Strikers and BAMs. Zooies. Oh my. Pushing it on Willow. Willow's commander is going to get overwhelmed here. Too many T1 units. Waste of a point defense. Wasted the APM and the resources on that point defense for it to get lasered down. But by sheer dumb luck, it looks like he will end up surviving this push. As 5 APM is using one of his 5 actions per minute to get a T2 upgrade on his commander. I've also bumped up the game sounds just a little bit. I know you guys, a couple of you guys said that they were pretty quiet in the last game, so bump them up a little bit. We'll try and rebalance it whenever I get done recording, but they sound really damn loud to me right now. As interesting, we've got a large amount of Lobos staged for a drop. It's going to be picked up by an interceptor screen, though. I don't think any of those Lobos are going to make landfall. Well, actually, this one might. I don't know if, well, Prugler pulls his interceptors into a relatively good position here. And so it looks like we might have one drop make landfall in 5 APM space. Gonna have to commit all 5 of his actions per minute to stop this drop. T3 is now on the field for our rear position air player for Team 2, which is Winterfail AN and NL. Winterfail NL. As the Lobos make their landfall, begin going after a T2 mech there for 5 APM. Looks like they're going to get it too. Going to grab that mass extractor, and there's not really a whole lot of response coming out from 5 APM right now. Going to lose a mechs. See if Prugler's paying attention here, or if he assumed that those Lobos were going to go down. Well, and they end up going after another T2 mechs. If you can get 2, it's definitely worth it. If you can get 3, it's fantastic. If you can get 4, you can rename yourself as Jagged Appliance. He's the pro that I tend to pick on just because he's also a YouTuber and he's nice about it, so I will continue doing it. Second T2 mechs in danger, and that is also going to go down. Super value drop there. 5 APM using engineers to try and reclaim the Lobos. That is his choice response, going to bag a couple of engineers as well. Zooey coming off the line actually is going to bag several of them just by sheer happenstance. And I think that is going to be the end of this little raid, this little drop, as a Sinva comes over from Sully to finish the job. On the far south side, Syndicalist has taken control of this island. Looks like Beerus tried to make another little play there. I thought there is a land factory. There was a Medusa as well as a Mantis sent out from that land factory to bat down the point defense that was being built by that engineer. T3 air on the field as well for Spiky Noob. And getting to work on his air grid production. Working with all T2 mechs. The build order on Settons is an art. Actually, it's a science. I take that back. It is definitely a science. And I failed science whenever I was growing up. So, yeah, for whatever reason, I thought I should definitely steal the teacher's guide from my mom's room for Latin. But I didn't put 2 and 2 together and think that I should do it for science as well. As well as getting beaten horribly in the middle once again by advancing forces from 5 APM, attempting a response with bombers. but not using his own Shift G strategy that he has created a video about. Incidentally, if you guys haven't, go watch that video. It's on his channel. Let me see if I can link it down in the description below. But his whole Shift G tutorial, very, very informative, even for someone who had played the game for a while like myself. Now have an Ilshevis bear down on him. All of this reclaim at the front of this base is a nice 4,500 or so. In reach there for 5 APM as he gets his fire base set up on this middle land straight. Willow is starting to bend. He's not whipping back with those little, what do you call them? Vines, branches, leaves. What's that on a willow tree? What do you call them? The little things that like droop down? I'll put a picture on there or something. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to put a picture on the screen in the middle of this video. I'd have to go back and find where I talked about willow trees, and that just takes too damn long. Trying to get some triads up. Just investing way too much into point defense. There's a nice little run by is going to get by there for 5 APM. Grabbing all of his units and clicking one of his actions per minute. High value action per minute play from 5 APM. You love to see it. Love to see it. Bombers being used as a response, but 5 APM learned from Willow's mistake and has grouped several of his mobile anti-aircraft in the vicinity. Willow trying to scramble to defend, but he is not able to now respond to the Zutham that is in place for 5 APM. Willow's situation gets more and more dire, even as having to get bomber assistance there from Syndicalist. Syndicalist. Yes, that is it. Zooming out, we're starting to see some Navy production, so in both ponds, and actually it looks like Krugler has very nearly just skipped T1 altogether. He's going straight for T2. Got some Valiants on the field. Can't speak. He's got one Valiant on the field. Maybe it's the IPA I'm drinking, but he's got one Valiant on the field, another in construction at a dry dock, asking for scouts. What does intel look like for team number 1 look like right now? Okay, pretty poor. We do have, nope, we don't have any radar. That is a spy plane. No radar for Willow. And let's look at what 5 APM sees. So 5 APM does have some radar up. He is going to see the jamming signals coming in from the Thunderhead frigates, though. Nice little UEF. Nice little, what'd you call it? Side buff? Buff? I don't know. Utility. Utility, that's the word we're looking for the frigates, is they can do jamming, which makes it very difficult to actually see how many ships are in a navy. Also makes it so that if your navy is shooting at a UEF navy and you have frigates in the mix, oftentimes things like battleships will target the spoofed signals instead of the actual navy signals. So it's a nice little buff, nice little utility there for the Thunderheads, and goes to show you why you should always have frigates in your fleets, especially if you're playing UEF, even if you're at Tech 3. You always want to be making frigates. As the Valiants are beating into 5 APM, Willow needing help from all corners of the map, unable to hold this causeway on his own. And how very magnanimous of his teammates to assist, as we see Howsells? Howessels. I'm trying to learn all of the Seraphim names. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing them, but a tip I learned really early on is if you don't know how to pronounce something, just say it with confidence and add a little at the end, and nobody's going to challenge you. Except for that doesn't really work with Seraphim units. I believe Seraphim units are largely, the unit names are based on Swedish. Is that right? Or is it German? It's a Germanic language, I believe, is what the Seraphim names are based off of. Can't remember where I heard that before. Maybe it was a Guile cast. But the Valiants were previously shooed away and have, like flies to honey, have come back to see 5 APM in his firebase. Those Seraphim shields doing a pretty good job actually at protecting him. He's got 2 of them set up, nice and layered. So it will take some time for these Valiants to chew through those shields. Time that needs to be spent by Sully to get up here and take out those Valiants. Although he seems to be moving his fleet the other way. I'm sure there's a reason for that. What it is, I don't know, but I'm sure there's a reason. Let's do a quick ASF count. Where are we at for winter? So, grabbing ASF. So we're up to 23 Coronas for winter. And for Spiky Noob, we're up to 38. So Spiky Noob definitely in a commanding position on the air front, as 5 APM has been ousted from his forward position by the Valiants. Team 1 doing a pretty good job of naval control, making sure that Willow is unable to commit suicide like he often tries to. Ah, tasty. IPAs are a great sipping beer. Howessels getting absolutely shreked by the Valiants, though. I don't think there's quite enough of them to deal with 4, although there are torpedo bombers coming over the top. No cruisers for Prugler in the water, and that's going to really help to tip the scales in the balance there of Sully. There's one destroyer dangerously close to going down. And Spiky and Winter positioning and posturing ASFs. Spiky, though, going to bag all of the torpedo bombers, and Winter is sitting back biding his time. Spiky gets a really good turn, though, on some idle ASFs here, kind of just showing their butts to the enemy. Spiky's going to clean that up. Nice little air win there for Team 1. Everybody's got to carry the caster, the noob caster on their backs. Winter saying got caught out. Bira saying, uh-huh. I'm imagining very sarcastic chat right now. Things are super quiet, though, in the bottom pond. Both players are just, I think, really ecoing. So Beerus is up to almost all T3 mexes. And we've got Syndicalist in a similar position. Hasn't done any upgrades as of yet on the island, but a lot of the ones on the mainland are T3. And while I said that, he's got 1, 2, 3 at T3, but I think that's it. So Beerus seems to be in a slightly better position from an eco front as Willow throws away a bunch of bombers into anti-aircraft. Willow could take some notes here. Anti-aircraft is important. He lost a ton of units to bombers early. And by a ton, I mean 7. But it was a ton. 7 units that didn't have to die, that died needless deaths, that died in vain to bombers. And their stories will be sung. Willow, the general, will be loathed throughout eternity for his negligence as a general. As Willow actually getting into the air game, or the air game, only if aircraft float, which they don't really, unless, never mind. We've got a T1 naval production now coming in for Willow. The kind of destroyer coalition has been bolstered by a bulwark. Nice little shield boat action here. Torpedo bombers coming in, but there is a governor guarding the more vulnerable destroyers and frigates for those from those torpedo bombers. It's always good to see. But it would look like Sully has pretty good control of the Navy, at least from a positioning standpoint. He's just now getting, I think, his first T2 units out on the field. He's got three destroyers in his mix. So destroyers and frigates, fourth one on the way, and one or two subs as well bopping around here. So we'll see how that develops. Definitely has a numbers advantage. Could probably rush Prugler. Prugler, incidentally, at T3 Navy, working on a Neptune. Neptune battle cruiser. God of the Sea. I believe it was the Roman god of the sea. Was that Neptune? Somebody's going to get down in the comments and be like, no, he's the god of, like, plants or space. Well, they didn't know about space. I digress wildly. It would appear that 5 APM is getting ready for another push, has done a click drag and used one of his actions per minute once again to assault the wavering Willow's duality position. As Willow wasting too much mass into eco. Like I said, I would have expected better. He's got a T3 mechs on upgraded and another one on the way. He's not even control K. Come on, man. You got to control K, the T2 mechs, and then use T3 engineers to reclaim and then build a T3 mechs. Even me, and I'm the biggest noob, knows that. I would have expected better. You're the better caster, Willow. You and I both know this. As 5 APM has gotten into the water, has got a cruiser out as well, and is assaulting Willow's rather vulnerable army here. Willow with a shield, gun, and nano upgrade on his comms, so tons of wasted resources on his commander. We'll see what he's able to do with that. Although first he needs to protect his units as they're getting taken out by the tactical missile barrage from 5 APM. Masterful play there from him. Needs to get all of his units, though, engaged here on this causeway. He will no doubt be able to bat down Willow's weaker units and glorify the Seraphim name. As we are stepping down in sim speed, guys, this is going to be a long one. 23 minutes in, -1 sim speed. My second computer might not be able to do settings games, but we're going to stick it out for the long haul. Willow's units getting carved and taken apart by these superior Seraphim forces. And Prugler deciding he's done enough damage and is going to continue to fall back. Masterfully done, sir. Masterfully done. Willow overextending with his commander, as we could expect. 5 APM is just looking to set the trap now. He's got more Ilshevas on the way to the front. He's got Navy. He's got naval support here from Sully. He's got everything he needs to beat down a caster, which is what everybody wants to do. Incidentally, we do have Beerus also positioning. He's got a counterintelligence boat as well in the mix. Willow could find himself in more of a compromised position than he has already put himself in, as the cruisers and destroyers from Beerus open fire onto Willow's forces that have been maneuvered vulnerably into a poor position. Now Willow is panicking, running away, calling for his allies to help. Prugler rushing to his defense. Sub-hunters being dispatched from Syndicalist. Might be too late, though. Willow does have that shield, so he is pretty tanky. Beerus needs to move his forces up a little bit. Willow being saved once again by his allies, moving naval forces into position. Spiky Noob going for a large T1 or a T2 torpedo bomber play here on what I believe is the HQ for these cruisers. They're going to get shredded though by those Seraphim cruisers. Seraphim cruisers, of course, having flak, that great AoE defense. Although he's going to lose 3 of them. Spiky Noobs definitely watched Willow's video on Shift G, or just knew it internally, implicitly, as many Spiky Noobs do. Now sub-hunters from Syndicalist moving into position, assaulting the Salem as well as several frigates. Beerus, not a whole lot of sub options or anti-sub options in his navy, mostly frigates, destroyers, handful of cruisers. Destroyers do okay against sub-hunters, but that's an awful lot of them. Submarine killers, sorry. And Prugler with that T3 battle cruiser already set up. We might go to split screen here. Keep an eye on both of these naval engagements as they unfold. Move the mini-map out of the way for a second. Neptune doing work, and it would appear that the sub-killers are not feeling super confident about pushing in on that far side, as we have some Barracudas from Beerus coming off as well. First Galaxy off the supply line, or the production line. That is going to be very good for him. So we now see, and we'll go back to single screen to watch the torpedo bombers once again from Spiky Noob, getting some pretty good value here, taking out some Yuashavas as well as some frigates. There's not any more cruisers in this mix. All the anti-air is coming from frigates, which means these torpedo bombers are able to pretty much do whatever they want. Destroyers are one of those units that say they have anti-air, but it's decorative anti-air. This last bulwark fails. Several torpedo bombers show up there for Prugler to assist Spiky in that northern pond. Where is Winter's ASF? Spiky doing a pretty good job at covering. And Sully is going to lose all of his torpedo bombers there to Spiky's Air Force. I think Winter might be on a smoke break out in the snow. As these torpedo bombers are really tearing a new one there for Sully. He's lost a lot of good Navy there. He is up at T3. He does have some battleships out on the field, but going to be difficult for him to deal with. It's going to need a lot more cruisers, or potentially floating flak or hover flak. I can't remember if it floats or it hovers. I think it hovers. These things have kind of quieted down on the middle causeway. More cruisers there from 5 APM, assaulting Willow's rather vulnerable position there. These torpedo bombers from Prugler continuing to just harass Sully's navy all the way back to the naval yards. Does get a cruiser out though. And Ithalua. Yeah, that's that name works well. And the first summit of the game coming out there from Prugler. So Neptune and a summit. Set up for some long-range bombardment. Spiky's ASF's a little bit out of position here, so Sully is going to get a little bit of a good run here with his torp bombers, although bulwarks will be able to pick up most of that. And there is a cruiser, a couple of cruisers in the mix there for Prugler, so I don't think he's going to suffer a whole lot of damage there from Sully's AA, or from Sully's torpedo bombers. Meanwhile, Spiky has had it with this T2 Naval Factory's existence. He finds it personally offensive. Decides to send all of his torps to just eviscerate that naval factory. And decent naval engagement down in the bottom. I'm gonna catch the back end of it. A lot going on. I need to put the mini-map back so that I can see what I'm missing as I'm missing it in the smaller side, in the smaller map. Also so that you guys can see what I'm missing as well. But Syndicalist seems to be primarily focusing on T2, so lots of Salems, lots of Barracudas. Not really seeing any frigates out from him, which is a bummer. He is Cybran. Cybran frigates, OP. Pretty sure that Penguin and I won our tournament off the back of Cybran frigates. Actually, Penguin won the tournament off the back of Cybran frigates. I just happened to add to his eco. Alright, Galaxy getting, well, it's actually the Tridents that are getting hit by, well, it's everything that is getting hit by these sub-killers. As the long-range bombardment or medium-range bombardment come out from the Salems, focusing down, working on the frigates, and there is a nuke that's coming out from Winter, so that's what Winter's been doing. He's been working on a nuke. Let's see where that's going. Yeah, so that is going for Perugler. And he's going to lose all of his main base. Salem's getting kind of mopped up here by the superior numbers. Just can't deal with the volume of frigates there from Beerus. Beerus needs a little bit better answer though to the sub-killers. I think the sub-killers are his primary problem here, not the destroyers. Not sure what you would do though in that situation. Zooming out a little bit to check on where that nuke is. Of course we're at -2 now, so nuke's not moving all that fast. It's crazy how this doesn't really feel all that slow to me because it seems like a gradual descent in Zim speed. Although each second I think is taking 2 seconds. So you guys get to hear more of my lovely voice. It does help though, that it means that I'm not going to be missing as many things in this game, but that is going to hurt there for Perugler. You're going to lose all of his core mass, his T3 air HQ potentially. Get a nice little shot of that nuke connecting. Curious what the Aeon nuke does. The Cybran has like a singularity rise out of it. And then the UEF have the mushroom cloud. Doesn't look like the Aeons really does anything as far as like anything rising up out of it. Unless the sim speed is just so low now that it's not coming out. I'm seeing a little bit of an energy field flickering, but nope, that appears to be it. Alrighty, welcome back. I had to take a brief intermission. My headset died. So we are back to it. Back to our -2 sim speed. We have another huge flight of torpedo bombers coming in from Spiky Noob over the top of Sully's Navy. Sully does have some ASFs though in the vicinity. He's made the jump to T3 air. He's gonna have to use those judiciously in order to defend his Navy. Seems to be pulling him off as Spiky's Air Force is right on top. There are some good cruisers though in this mix. I think Spiky is targeting the battleships right now with his torpedo bombers. It's causing a lot of torpedo bombers to go down. They are going to bag a couple of cruisers there, actually most of the cruisers for Sully as well as 5 APM. And Sully now with an aircraft carrier. That'll help out a little bit with his anti-aircraft woes in the ocean. But Spiky almost single-handedly turning around this northern naval engagement with these torpedo bombers, and kind of that early air win over Winter has really come back to bite T1. I don't think Winter has ever been able to fully recover. Run another quick ASF count. So 152 ASFs for Winter. And looking at Spiky, we're up to... Spiky? There we go. 143. So actually, Winter has more ASFs on the field. I guess he's potentially playing air like I do and just not paying attention all the way across the map. Bottom, though, is in a little bit of a stalemate. We have a Saku that is putting together some harms. Those Tech 3 torpedo ambushing systems. That's really kind of where we're at right now. Just a stalemate kind of across the board. It does seem like Willow is doing a little bit more to help out on the upper side of the map, although you know, he's doing a terrible thing here. He's stealing reclaim from his naval player, which is just deplorable. Got engineers all through the northern pond here on Settons, and I can't think of a less tasteful thing to do, sir. To steal reclaim from your already eco-strapped beach position. Beach position, of course, doesn't benefit from quite as many mexes as the cliffs, and Willow is just going to take that disadvantage and make it worse. And 5 battleships in the ocean, 6 battleships in the ocean now there for Sully. Sully in a position where you can push back with larger battleship numbers now, I think. Be able to begin shelling from range. 2 summits here for Krugler. Summits as far as overall value will win in a stand-up fight against the Halhoum, but you got 6 of them versus 2. It was a little bit more difficult to pull that off. Eco-wise, both of these teams are pretty much in lockstep. 1.42 million versus 1.43 million. And this is one thing I like about the Strategic Icons mod, is it highlights these kinds of things. So Winter is going for mass nuke spam. A very interesting strategy. So he's got 3 of the Apocalypse nuke missile launchers. Going for a 4th right now, actually, as well. Pumping out RAS commanders, or RAS boys, as some of you guys would call them, like there's no tomorrow. But I think needs to position his Navy a little bit more aggressively in this northern pond, or at least help out the southern pond, as Willow is moving in. I said the middle was a stalemate, but that is no longer the case. Titans tearing through the T1 for 5 APM here. So the odd siege tank in here, but mostly Ilshivas and T1 units, which is not what you wanna be fighting Titans with. And this would be why Willow has now dubbed himself the Titan Prince. There's another nuke out from Winter. See that on the mini map there. As the Titans continue moving into 5 APM's base. 5 APM putting up some Utashalas in defense. But only going to get 2 or 3 of them up. Not going to be enough to break the tide of the Titans, unfortunately. Goes for an Amaranth, or not Amaranth. Athua Nahatha. Okay, so maybe I should stop on this journey to learn all of the Seraphim unit names. As the Titans now massacring engineers. and the odd siege tank that makes it out of the factory. But Titans wise, looks like we still got a good 10 or 12 healthy Titans on the front lines. 5 APM, they zero in on his commander. And T3 engineering sweep, but no gun upgrade. And might not even have the energy to overcharge right now. Might not have an E-storage, which is a pretty critical mistake. 5 APM getting out of harm's way for a brief respite as he sacrifices all of his engineers to the Titans. But the Titans smell blood in the water. Even has a Volthu out. Nuke landed in Brugler's old base that was already nuked previously. So I don't think anything insane happened up there, and 5 APM gets ejected from this game by Willow. I guess it's hard to roast the guy now. He's playing pretty well. It was a good Titan push. This, of course, being Setton's, it is full share, so all of this will transfer over to the highest score individual, which in this case appears to be Winter. Though Winter, I don't think has anything to set up to stop these Titans from taking out these T3 mexes, all these engineers, T3 air HQ, etc. Titans just rolling through, baby. Leaving a wake of carnage in their trail. As we get mass autogun spam beginning from some Sakus there for Beerus, as we get another nuke coming out. This one, I'm not sure where this one is going. Actually, yeah, I'm not sure where that one's going. Oh, it's going for here. So it's going for the side island for Syndicalist, who does have an SMD there, but it is not loaded, so that nuke will land and eviscerate everything there. And we got some Volthus in now from Sully, trying to stem the bleeding here. These Titans, but 5 APM's old base is well and truly destroyed, as Prugler just control Ks. Not quite sure what that was. There was no nuke going for him. There's no strats on the field as far as I can tell, so I'm not sure what that was about. We'll see who inherits the Northern Naval Forces, as Spiky Noob is continuing to ravage this Northern Fleet with torpedo bombers, and Winter seems unbothered by that. But going after the aircraft carriers, I think all the cruisers have been taken out as well, and that's going to be a victory here in the northern pond. As a Rascom goes pop there in the northern pond, and we see the nuke land on the western island. For the love of God, hopefully these units getting killed off on the screen is going to mean that, and that might have been Sully control K-ing there. I think that might have been Sully control K-ing there. For the love of God, yeah, so that was Sully control K-ing. Hopefully this increases the sim speed a little bit. But the torpedo bombers, as well as the Navy that has now been inherited by Spiky Noob in the northern pond, is going to, I think, push all the way through. I don't think that Winter is going to be concerning himself too heavily with the northern pond as it stands. In the southern pond, we've got subs, cruisers, destroyers, battleships. Actually, there's no destroyers in this mix. There's one destroyer. Not a Noobcaster, but Beerus mixing in a lot of Ayashivas in his mix, as well as some Yinzines. And another nuke comes out there from Winter. who has now pulled a lot of his RASCOMs to start work on what looks like a salvation installation. Okay. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out for him. He definitely, well, he might have the eco for it. I'm not sure. He's inherited Sully's old base here that is still pumping mass into his coffers. But he needs to... Well, and actually, as I look down here, we got Titans moving in on Beerus's base. Commander in a relatively exposed position here. And the comm should be overcharging, I think. I don't know. There's a lot of Titans here, but trying to get some auto guns put down. Does have the T3 engineering suite on his commander, so if we were not at -2 sim speed, those would be going up rather quickly, but we are, so we're going to make do. As mexes get popped by the Titans. It's going to be 3 T3 mexes down, a 4th to follow, a 5th soon after that. And Beerus is hurting from an eco perspective now as Winter and Spiky Noob begin to tangle in the skies above Winter's more forward base here. Keep an eye on this as well as on Beerus' commander that is actually about to go pop. Beerus gets ejected. The Titan run by is too strong. And Winter seems to be losing this air engagement. Spiky doing a pretty good job of keeping his... Well, and I say that as Winter gets a pretty good turn there. But Winter seems to have his ASFs on auto move, and Spiky seems to be moving them in a cluster. So that's a small air win there for Team 2. As Winter is now the only representative for said team left in the game. And thank heavens we're up at -1 sim speed, boys. We did it. Or I should say the players did it. They've killed off enough units to get us up to -1 sim speed. This video might be under 3 hours long. Quantum reactors going down. There is a huge amount of Spectres over the top of these Titans, but I think the Titans have served their purpose at this point. They're not going to be able to quite bag this last T3 power generator, but I think Willow will be pretty happy with that performance. As Willow finishes an experimental, which would be a Fat Boy making its way down the causeway. It'll be there by tomorrow sometime. We'll see. Let's see how our salvation is going. So salvation is actually going up pretty quickly. We're up at 20% already in the, well, 7 or 8 minutes in Duelist speaking time, but 3 minutes game time. So we'll see how that goes. Spiky has also inherited a lot of eco and is putting that into a Tsar right now. That is going up very quickly as well. He's got huge amounts of mass fabs. And he's at 1.5k income. That is huge in terms of income. You'll love to see it. I think I would just vapor lock at 1.5k income. I don't even know what to do with it. So we have another nuke coming out. Where is this nuke going? I have no idea. It seems to be tracking either for the side island or maybe this this fleet that is harassing the remains of Beerus's navy in the middle. Or it might be going for Syndicalist's main base. Not 100% sure. We'll see. See how the cookie crumbles. See how the nuke lands. So it's not going for the navy. It is, I guess, going for the HQ. Naval HQ and manufacturing. That's... I mean, I guess if you got 5 nuke launchers, you can put a nuke there. Considering that I think everything else is covered by SMD, that'd be a pretty good spot to put it. We got SMD here. That's a pretty dope icon for an SMD. As we'll watch the nuke land, take out a nice galaxy that has been recently minted off of the assembly line. Poor galaxy never stood a chance. But the cloud of torpedo bombers has changed their goal and is now intent on mopping up the remainders of Beerus's fleet here, allowing Syndicalist a pretty open path to the beach position, and we'll be able to eliminate the remaining mexes and one power generator that is left as another nuke comes out. And where is this one going? Let's see if I can see where that is going to go. Not a clue. Not a clue. It seems to be tracking towards Syndicalist again. As the Tsar has been completed there on your screen for Spiky Noob. Seems to have taken a little bit of fire from potentially Winter's ASFs. Salvation is getting dangerously close to getting done. 82% completed. That is going up. Post haste. 1.4k income. And he's not even using all of his mass. It seems to be power is the issue for our buddy Winter, who seems to be living out the Texas winter of early 2021 with power shortages all over the place. So that's where your nuke was going. A couple of, I think it was just a stream of units that it took out. But hey, you got 5 nuke launchers, you can use them as point defense. It's one of the primary benefits of having that many nuke launchers. As Winter completes the salvation, will the salvation be his salvation? Begins opening fire on enemy positions. I should probably grab a quick thumbnail real quick. Titans. Because Willow is the self-proclaimed Titan Prince. Where is that? 7 hours into the video? Perfect. Alright, so the Salvation appears to be targeting, looks like Spiky Noob's main base. But he's on the clock. He's got to do a lot with that Salvation, and he's got to deal with the units that are on the field. As the ASFs go for a dive on the Tsar. Looks like they're going to one pass it, maybe. Nope, not quite going to one pass it. Might be able to get it on the second pass as they all dive for it. Tsar taking huge amounts of damage is going to go down. Spiky will be able to clean up the rest of the Air Force as Syndicalist has also gotten into the T3 air game. ASF's quick to assist Spiky. But Spiky is losing his entire base. See what that's doing to his power situation. Nope, he's still good. He's full across the board, ladies and gentlemen. He has got a lot of everything. Spiky is not in need of resources. That is for damn sure. Another nuke comes out. I gotta say, I don't think that the mass nuke point defense is necessarily played out here for Winter, but the Salvation does seem to be paying off. Needs to make sure he keeps that on target, though. Multiple nukes coming out. So second nuke coming out. One at least is going for this side island. Not sure where the other one is going. We'll be able to track it. Appears to be going for almost the same place. But one of these might be going to bag the Navy. If he's using these for point defense, wouldn't surprise me. And that is what this one is going to be doing. So it's going to bag a bunch of T1 subs. I think that most of these galaxies will survive, though. So he's going to take out 2, but 5 of the 7 will make it out. As another Tsar comes in for Spiky. Clouds of ASF to support. What does Spiky's base look like? So the Salvation is actually moved shifted targets to Spiky's forward base. Spiky working on a salvation of his own. 36% of the way done. But seems to be power stalling through this process. Yeah, negative 48,000, 51, 53. It's getting worse, guys. Power income per second. Even with all of these brass commanders, as another nuke comes out. This guy's throwing nukes like they're something that you throw a lot of. Blanking. That Tsar is going to do a good amount of damage. And that salvation, there are a good amount of SAMs here, but SAMs seem to be distracted by the ASFs at the time. And I don't know if there are enough to deal with this Tsar, even though it doesn't have its shields. As the Tsar begins eating through the shield generators. And that is going to be it for our salvation. And I believe that is going to be it for the salvation of Winter. So I'm not sure how Winter comes back into this now. I think salvation might have been his one and only play as another swarm of Titans comes in. There is a GC here to begin fending them off. Begins looking at these Titans with the hairy eyeball that my wife gives me whenever I was supposed to get something at the store and didn't get it, and then she asks if I checked the list, which of course I didn't check the list. That's why I didn't get your shredded cheese that you wanted. Not a true story. Not a true story at all. This is purely fictional. GC should be able to mop up these Titans, though. Titan's not great against heavy experimentals. A little bit too thin on the HP standpoint. A little bit too thin on the DPS standpoint. But we'll see if enough of them make it through. Winter does have, as my computer stutters to calculate the reclaim, 41,000 reclaim. Well, we can zoom in a little bit and get a little bit tighter. 32,000 reclaim on his side of the map that is relatively easily accessible, and is going to try putting that into another salvation on top of the previous wreck. Actually, there's already another salvation that's 85% of the way done on this side of the map. Going for some additional quantum reactors to support his energy usage. The fat boy is in range now and is running away. It seems like all of Team 1 is power stalling right now because Spiky Noob was the backbone of their energy grid. But Spiky's salvation is up as Winter throws the GG. See if Winter GG's out. I believe that was a comm exploding. Winter is out of the game, and that is going to be it.
Strategic launch detected.
And launches a bunch of nukes. Launches a bunch of nukes after he control Ks, or as he control Ks his commander. Very interesting game. Couple of game enders, lots of good naval play. Willow played, of course, deplorably throughout the entire game. I'm just astounded at how embarrassed I am to call myself a FAF caster alongside of Willow. If you guys have made it this far, of course, this is all in jest. Willow and I are good friends. Several casts together on our channels. He asked me to cast this game. He can't have expected I would just cast this game outright. So anyway, thank you guys for making it this far in the video, bearing with the sim speed drops and my headset dying in the middle. I'll cut it out, so hopefully you guys won't even notice that I was gone for about 45 minutes while my headset recharged. But that's about it from me. I do have a bar cast slated for the future. Unfortunately, I'm isolated to using this rig right now just because we still have company from out of town, and I can't use my main computer right now, and I cannot get bar to capture correctly on this computer. It either shows up as inverted or there is a shitload of stuttering in the recording. So if you guys have any ideas on that, leave them in the comments down below. Also, let me know what you guys think of the strategic icons mod. Did you guys find it helpful? Did you find it annoying? I find it helpful to cast, but let me know if you guys don't like it down in the comments below. And I think that's about it. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.